there is a quiet truth that many people ignore until life forces them to see it. Not everything deserves your presence. Not everyone deserves your energy. Your energy is the most valuable resource you have, yet it is often the least protected. Unlike money, time, or possessions, energy is invisible, but it shapes every part of your life. It determines how you think, how you feel, how you respond, and ultimately how you live. Every interaction you engage in, every thought you entertain, and every environment you place yourself in either adds to your energy or takes it away. From the moment you wake up, your energy begins to flow. If your mind is filled with worry, comparison, or negativity, your energy starts to leak before your day has even begun. If you surround yourself with people who complain, criticize, or bring constant drama, your energy slowly drains without you realizing it. You may feel tired, irritated, or unmotivated, not because you lack ability, but because your energy has been scattered in too many directions. Most people are careful about how they spend their money, but careless about how they spend their energy. They will think twice before making a financial investment. Yet, they will give hours of their attention to things that bring no value. They allow distractions, unnecessary arguments, and meaningless noise to consume their inner strength. Over time, this creates a state where they feel stuck, exhausted, and disconnected from themselves. Your energy is directly connected to your focus. Whatever you give your attention to grows stronger in your life. If you constantly focus on problems, negativity will expand. If you focus on growth, discipline, and clarity, your energy begins to align with those qualities. This is why protecting your energy is not just about avoiding negative people, but also about becoming aware of your own thoughts and habits. There are moments when you may feel obligated to stay engaged in situations that drain you. You may feel pressure to respond, to explain, or to keep giving even when you are empty. But every time you ignore your inner signal and continue to invest your energy in the wrong place, you weaken your ability to show up fully where it truly matters. You begin to lose patience, lose clarity, and lose control over your emotional state. When you start treating your energy as something valuable, your behavior begins to change. You become more selective with your time. You become more aware of what you allow into your mind. You pause before reacting and you choose where to invest yourself instead of reacting impulsively. This awareness creates a sense of control and stability that cannot be shaken easily. Energy is not something you can endlessly give without consequence. It must be managed, protected, and restored. If you continue to give without awareness, you will eventually feel empty. But when you become conscious of how you use it, you begin to move with intention. You stop wasting yourself on what does not matter, and you start preserving your strength for what truly does. Identifying what drains you requires honesty with yourself, because the signs are often subtle and easy to ignore. Not everything that drains you is loud or obvious. Sometimes it appears in the form of small, repeated experiences. Conversations that leave you feeling uneasy, environments that quietly exhaust you, or habits that slowly weaken your focus. You may not notice it immediately, but your body and mind always respond. There is always a signal. Pay attention to how you feel after certain interactions. There are people who leave you feeling lighter, more inspired, more at ease, and then there are those who leave you mentally tired, emotionally irritated, or strangely empty. This difference is not random. It is feedback. Your internal state is reflecting the impact of that connection. When you start observing this without denial, patterns begin to appear. Many people ignore these patterns because they are used to them. They normalize stress, constant noise, and emotional tension. They convince themselves that this is just how life is. But living in a constant state of mental exhaustion is not normal. It is a sign that something in your environment or behavior is misaligned with your well-being. The more you ignore it, the more it becomes part of your daily experience. Sometimes what drains you is not a person, but a habit. Endless scrolling, comparing yourself to others, overthinking situations that have no clear outcome. These patterns quietly consume your mental energy. You may feel busy, but not productive. You may feel occupied, but not fulfilled. This kind of draining is dangerous because it feels harmless, yet it gradually erodes your clarity and discipline. There are also situations where you feel obligated to stay, even when you know it is draining you. You might continue certain conversations, out of politeness, maintain connections out of guilt, or remain in environments simply because they are familiar. But obligation does not protect your energy. It only delays the moment when exhaustion becomes unavoidable. When you consistently ignore your inner resistance, you train yourself to tolerate what is not good for you. Your body often recognizes what your mind tries to justify. A sense of heaviness, lack of motivation, irritation without a clear reason. These are not random feelings. They are indicators. They are telling you that something is taking more from you than it is giving. When you learn to notice these signals without immediately dismissing them, you begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. Clarity comes from observation, not reaction. Instead of immediately trying to fix or change everything, start by simply noticing. Notice where your energy drops. Notice what triggers unnecessary stress. Notice which environments make it difficult for you to stay calm and focused. This awareness alone begins to separate you from what drains you. As your awareness sharpens, your tolerance for draining experiences decreases. You become less willing to engage in what weakens you. But because you are finally recognizing your own limits, this recognition is the first step toward protecting your inner stability and maintaining control over where your energy goes. Walking away is often misunderstood because people associate it with giving up, avoidance, or weakness. They believe that strength means enduring everything, tolerating every behavior, and staying no matter the cost. But true strength is not measured by how much you can تحمل. It is measured by how clearly you can see what is no longer right for you and how courageously you act on that understanding. There are moments when staying feels easier than leaving. Familiarity creates a sense of comfort, even when it is harmful. You know the patterns, you know the people, you know what to expect. Walking away, on the other hand, introduces uncertainty. It forces you to face the unknown, to stand alone for a while, and to trust yourself without external validation. This is why many people remain in situations that slowly drain them. They are not lacking awareness. They are lacking the willingness to face discomfort. But every time you choose to stay where your energy is being drained, you reinforce a silent message within yourself that your peace is not a priority. Over time, this weakens your sense of self-worth. You begin to tolerate more than you should, accept less than you deserve, and adjust yourself to fit into situations that do not align with your values. This is not strength. This is slow self-neglect. Walking away requires clarity. It requires you to separate emotion from truth. You may feel attached. You may feel responsible. You may even feel guilty. But not every feeling is a reason to stay. Sometimes those feelings are the very chains that keep you stuck. When you step back and look at the situation without emotional distortion, you begin to see whether it is helping you grow or holding you back. There is also a quiet power in choosing silence over reaction. Many draining situations feed on your engagement. The more you explain, argue, or try to fix things, the more energy you lose. Walking away does not always mean physically leaving immediately. Sometimes it means emotionally detaching. It means refusing to invest your thoughts and feelings into something that has already shown you its true nature. This decision is not always easy, especially when it involves people you care about. But caring about someone does not mean you must sacrifice your own well-being. Respect for yourself must exist alongside compassion for others. Without that balance, you give endlessly, while receiving very little in return, and eventually, you find yourself empty. Strength is quiet. It does not need to prove itself through endurance of unnecessary pain. It shows itself through discipline, through awareness, and through the ability to make difficult decisions without needing approval. When you walk away from what drains you, you are not losing something valuable. You are reclaiming something essential. You are choosing clarity over confusion. You are choosing peace over chaos. You are choosing growth over stagnation. And most importantly, you are choosing yourself, not out of ego, but out of understanding that your energy Your time and your inner stability are not meant to be wasted where they are not respected. Setting silent boundaries is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. Yet it is often the least understood. People are conditioned to believe that boundaries must always be spoken, defended, or explained in detail. But in reality, not every boundary needs a conversation. Some of the strongest boundaries are the ones that are felt, not argued. When you rely too heavily on explanations, you place your peace in the hands of other people's understanding. You begin to believe that if you can just make them see your perspective, they will respect your limits. But this is not always true. Many people already understand more than they show. They simply choose to ignore it because your lack of boundaries allows them to continue. In such cases, words lose their power and only consistent action creates change. Silent boundaries begin with awareness. You start noticing where your energy is being disrupted, where your patience is being tested repeatedly, and where your inner calm is being disturbed without reason. Instead of reacting immediately, you begin to respond differently. You step back, you reduce access, you create distance without announcing it loudly. This quiet shift changes the entire dynamic without unnecessary conflict. There is a deep strength in not over-explaining yourself. Every explanation invites debate, and every debate consumes energy. When you constantly justify your decisions, you slowly begin to feel as though you are doing something wrong for simply protecting yourself. But protecting your peace is not wrong. It does not require approval. It only requires consistency. Silent boundaries also protect your emotional stability. When you stop reacting to every provocation, you stop feeding situations that thrive on your response. Many draining interactions continue only because attention is given to them. The moment you withdraw that attention, their influence weakens. Silence becomes a message that is clearer than words. This behavior no longer has access to me. It is important to understand that silence is not avoidance. It is awareness in action. It is the decision to conserve energy instead of wasting it on endless explanations that lead nowhere. When you stop over-engaging, you begin to see people and situations more clearly. You observe patterns instead of reacting to moments. You understand intentions without needing confirmation. At first, silent boundaries may feel uncomfortable, especially if you are used to explaining yourself or seeking understanding from others. There may be a fear of being misunderstood or misjudged, but with time, you realize that being misunderstood while at peace is far better than being understood while constantly drained. Peace becomes more valuable than approval. As you practice this, your energy begins to stabilize. You become less reactive, more centered, and more selective with your responses. You no longer feel the need to prove your intentions to everyone. Instead, you allow your actions to speak consistently over time. Those who respect you adjust naturally, and those who do not are no longer able to disturb your inner balance as easily. Silent boundaries are not about shutting people out completely. They are about controlling access to your time, attention, and emotional space. They are about deciding without noise what deserves your presence and what does not. When you begin to protect your energy, the first noticeable change is not external success, but internal stability. There is a shift in how you experience your own mind. The constant noise that once felt normal starts to fade. The emotional weight you used to carry without question begins to loosen. You realize that much of your exhaustion was not coming from life itself, but from how much of yourself you were giving away without awareness. Inner peace is not something that arrives suddenly. It is built slowly through repeated decisions to step away from what disturbs your balance. Every time you avoid unnecessary conflict, every time you choose silence over reaction, every time you distance yourself from draining influence, you are not just avoiding negativity, you are restoring your inner system. Over time, this restoration becomes your natural state. Clarity is one of the first gifts that appears when your energy is no longer scattered. Your thoughts become sharper. Decisions feel lighter. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions by other people's emotions or expectations. Instead, you begin to see situations as they are, not as your stress or attachment makes them appear. This clarity allows you to move with intention rather than reaction. Strength also becomes more visible, but it is a quiet strength. It is not loud or aggressive. It does not need to prove itself. It shows in your ability to remain calm in situations that once disturbed you easily. It shows in your patience, in your control, and in your ability to choose your response instead of being controlled by impulse. This kind of strength is built through protection, not pressure. As your energy becomes more stable, your focus naturally improves. You stop wasting attention on things that do not matter. Your mind becomes less crowded, allowing you to concentrate on what is meaningful. Even simple tasks feel easier because your mental space is no longer overloaded with unnecessary emotional weight. You begin to notice that progress in life is not always about doing more, but about removing what is unnecessary. Another change that happens is emotional balance. Situations that once triggered strong reactions no longer have the same control over you. You observe instead of absorb. You respond instead of react. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing external chaos to enter your internal world. Your emotional state becomes something you manage, not something controlled by others. With time, you also start to value your time and attention differently. You become more selective with where you invest yourself. Conversations, relationships, and environments are no longer accepted automatically. There is awareness behind your choices. If something disturbs your peace repeatedly, you no longer ignore it. You adjust, you distance, or you let go. The most powerful change is that life begins to feel lighter. Not because challenges disappear, but because you are no longer carrying unnecessary emotional burdens along with them. You move through situations with more ease, more awareness, and more control over your inner world. Peace is no longer something you search for outside. It becomes something you maintain within yourself. In the end, protecting your energy is not about escaping life, but about choosing how you experience it. You cannot control everything that happens around you, but you can control what you allow to stay inside you. Every situation, every person, every thought does not deserve equal access to your mind. There will always be things that try to pull you back into stress, into overthinking, into emotional chaos. But the moment you recognize your power to step back, you stop being a victim of your environment and start becoming the guardian of your inner world. Not everything needs your reaction. Not everything needs your explanation. And not everything deserves your presence. What truly matters is where you choose to stand when you realize your peace is being tested. Because every time you choose yourself, every time you choose calm over chaos, every time you choose distance over depletion, you strengthen something deeper than confidence. You strengthen awareness. And from that awareness, life stops feeling like something that drains you and starts becoming something you consciously shape.